Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we are here to talk about the stock market. You already know the spiel. It's our 21-day Q&A, and today's question is, when do you buy? Like, how do you know that right now is the right time to buy? So I'll start off by saying it is subjective because every type of investor has a different mindset. Every investor is investing in different things. So how you decide to buy is going to be your process. So what I will do is cover two, maybe three ways that most people decide, or at least the people that I have worked with. So either my clients, other investors that I know, as well as what I personally do. I'll also say, for example, an index fund, you just buy that all the time. There's no right time to buy an index fund. You just buy and you consistently buy because it owns the entire stock market. It's very, very difficult to time the market and try and get yourself in the right price. So I'll also say that. So there is no perfect way to do this. Obviously, if any of us would have known that in mid-March we'd hit the bottom and it would be down, I don't know, 37% or whatever the market was at in 2020, everybody in the world would have poured in, bought everything super, super cheap, and rolled out the rest of the year and been really wealthy. That's hard to call because psychologically and actually in real life, the market will drop and we always think it's going to drop further. Like we never say, okay, well, it's going to drop. And once it hits this, we're all good. No, it kept dropping and dropping and dropping. We're like, oh my God. Then it started to come up and was like, oh, it's going to drop again. And you just keep playing these mind games with yourself so it makes it very, very difficult for you to say, this is the price I'm getting in at. This is when I'm buying. So method number one of when to buy is dollar cost averaging. We did an entire video on it. What I do, and you see me do this on public every single Friday, and I do it for all my accounts. Friday, I put money in. I buy all the stuff I have. So if I already got shares of TMO, which is I can't pronounce the name. TMO is a stock symbol. Apple, Danaher, all of those, right? So I just go in every Friday. I buy everything. So if I've got $100, I'm putting 10 in every stock. If I've got $1,000, I'm putting 100 in every one. Whatever the amount is, divided evenly for my stocks on public. But there is no time or right time for me to like get in there and do that. I don't check what the share price is because I'm more of a passive investor. So us passive people, we just kind of sit back and let things go because we think we have quality stocks at the time that we pick. Then I put my money in, and I just keep putting my money in, and I do not concern myself about where the stock is on that day. I don't really care what time it is. I just do it on Fridays because it's consistent and sometimes I'm bored. If I wanted to do it at the first of the month, you can do that. If you want to do it on the 15th, you can do that. It really doesn't matter. And we have some data on that it doesn't really, you're not really making or breaking yourself by doing it on 9:30 a.m. when the market opens versus noon. It is not really going to make that big of a difference. I'll also say for index funds, it really doesn't matter either. You're already going to own the majority of the market. Just keep putting money in and really don't focus on it. So number one is dollar cost averaging. Number two, you can do what's called a trend line, which I will show you how to do. Now, trend lines are, now, if you're a trader, which means you're really getting in there and really kind of figure out the price and all kind of stuff. If you're a trader, you are very, very adamant about charts and how you think that you can predict the market to a degree based on what a chart tells you. Now, I am not super chart heavy. The reason being, Random Walk Down Wall Street kind of explains why it's really not what we think it is. But it can help to help you gauge at what point you should enter a stock. I'll also say that traders, those who are really trying to be aggressive and buy and sell within shorter time frames, they have to be very, very precise because it's costly, right? If you don't make the trade correctly, or if you're in options and you're not getting a precise price. So it can be a little more cumbersome. So what I am going to do is show you how to draw a trend line. I'm going to show you in some ways how you can kind of gauge when you should get in. I'll also throw a caveat that trading, and I even do this in my course as well, there are other layers. So this is a very watered down version. Don't take this as this is the end all be all strategy when it comes to drawing a trend line and figuring out what's going on and when you should enter a stock. This is super watered down. I just want to illustrate what this looks like on a super simple like 101 version. All right, so give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up random stock. A client had actually mentioned the stock, so that's why I'm bringing it up. No suggestions to buy or sell this. It's just I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to bring it up. All right, so I'm going to pull it up here, and it should. All right, so Bio-Rad Laboratories. I don't know what they do, but clearly the stock is going up, right? So the dollar cost averaging strategy that I had mentioned would be, what is this, February? So February, I buy some. March, I'm buying some, and I'm not putting on the exact date. I'm just kind of moving. April, I get some. May, I get some. June, I get some. July, August, and you can see how and sometimes I just happen to time it at that low point, right? So if I had gotten it, let's say April, I would have gotten it at a good price because it's low, and it rides up. I get some more here, and then I get some more here when it's what is this, June, July, would have got me at a good price here just by going on a monthly basis, which you can do. It doesn't have to be weekly. I just do weekly. August, cool. I'm getting it low based on where we see the chart is going. September would have gotten it a good price. October, now November I would have got it really high, and then December I would have got it low again, right? So you can see how dollar cost averaging can. I'm going to hit the right spots if I'm consistent, which is why I suggest in most cases, if you can do a monthly deposit and just keep going month by month, you're going to be fine. You really don't have a choice but to be fine as long as the stock is going up, right? But if you're somebody that says, look, I don't want to do that. I want to put all my money in at one time. Obviously, we all would have loved to put in, $1,000 or whatever we could when it was down at $340, $330. That would have been perfect. But we can't predict the future, and we don't know how that's going to work. So one way that people do, they'll zoom in. So this is over the past year. Maybe we'll zoom in 3 months. So this kind of shows us what's going on in 3 months. Probably 1 month is actually a better, there we go. All right, so 1 month kind of tells us like this is clearly what's happening in 1 month. And what they'll do, they'll hit the draw button. They'll hit, now I just like to use yellow. You don't have to use yellow. I'm gonna go back to 3 months. It really doesn't matter. A trader will tell you it matters. But again, we're doing this super simple. So don't take it as the end all be all that I mentioned earlier. All right, so what I'm going to do, we saw that this stock was going up, right? We saw, and I'll go back here. We see the stock is going up. So what I want to do is draw a trend line across the bottom, because what I am trying to do is find out at what price level does the stock kind of come down at and kind of bounce back up. That's what I want to figure out. And I can't really tell that here. You can see where it peaks down, right? Well, okay, cool. But, that doesn't tell me but so much. Like you see, it's kind of coming down here right now. Should I get it right now because it's low, or should I wait until it drops a little lower and then jump in at that point? So what time should I buy? So again, I'm gonna come back in around 3 months. You can do 1 month if you want. I am going to, let me zoom out a bit. It's gonna let me, just so I can see a bit better. All right, so usually for a trend line that's going, for a stock that's going up, I'm gonna draw this across the bottom. And what I'm trying to do is try and connect 2, maybe 3 of these peaks across the bottom. So what I might do, might start here. I might, let me see, because and that's the thing, it's not, let me clear this drawing. Not always the most precise method. Here we go. All right, so I'm actually started this one. This is a good peak across the bottom. And here's another one here. And I'm almost connecting 3 dots. So 1, 2, 3. And what it seems like, and it's not an exact science, is that, look, it's kind of bouncing off this, kind of coming up, coming right back down. So maybe I should enter here, and it's coming up, and it looks as if it's going to come back down. There's no guarantee that it's actually going to come back down. So if I'm trying to time the market, which again, I don't always suggest, but if this is you and this is what you would prefer to do, maybe I would get this around 590. What is that? 594. Maybe I can set an alert here on Yahoo Finance, or I can put an alert, depending on what app you have. So maybe I would set an alert for here, and what may happen, and it's not a guarantee, maybe it'll hit about 593, 594, and come back up. So maybe that's the price I want to get into. Because obviously, if I had known I could have gotten in at 516, I would have done that. But we can't go back. So what's the next opportunity for me to jump in? Probably around that 596, 594 area, which is what it looks like it could hit. You can also scroll to the right, and there will be other entry points, perhaps. And that's one way. It is just one way to kind of figure that out. Now, I will say again, that is a super watered down version. It is not the end all be all. There are some other things that you may want to consider doing, and some other charts that you may want to consider enhancing that method to be a lot more precise. I'm just giving you the ideas. Oh, excuse me. I'm giving you the ideas and allow you to run with it and be as precise as you wish. So that's totally up to you. But when do you buy? Number one, you can do dollar cost average, and you can just be consistent and just keep going that way. And I think by default, as we saw, you're gonna get in at the right price by default. If you want to be more precise and you want to say, look, I want to get in, but I want to get in at the right price because I think I'm doing something more, or I want to try and do something more, then perhaps a trend line is best for you. Now, I do teach trend lines in a slightly higher capacity inside the Investor's Toolkit. We do a lot more. It's not that simple, but I do make it as simple as you can with also being as accurate as you can as well. So just want to throw it out there. All right, so before we go, let me know what you think in the comments. Are there things that you use or other things that you've heard that you try and figure out when you should buy and when you should enter the market? I'll also throw in that a lot of people say, well, should I wait until the economy is bad? Should I invest when, like last year when the market was falling off? Is this a time to invest, or should I invest because I think it's too high? I don't buy into any of that because we don't know when the market is bad or when it's too high. We think we do, we don't actually do. For example, at the time of this recording, now by the time you see it, could be a different story. But at the time of this recording, and let me grab my phone here, Bitcoin was at like $40,000. People thought it was high at 30,000. When I recorded the video, I think it was at 25,000. That was at the end of 2020. So in my mind, I think 40,000 is too high. By the time you're watching this, it could be 50 or 60. Who knows? Or it could be half of that. We don't know. So that's a part of it. My thing is those who invest now will be the ones who will be wealthy 2, 3, 4 years down the line. And we also know over time the market tends to go up anyway. So anything that you invest in, almost anything, not everything, almost anything you invest in now is likely to be higher 2, 3, 4 years from now. So even if you think something is high today in the stock market, I can't guarantee anything for Bitcoin. We don't have data for that yet. Anything that you're doing now is likely to be higher in the very near future, 2, 3, 4 years down the line. So what you think is high for, let's say, an Apple or even an Amazon, is going to be cheap down the line. I used to think that $2,000 a share for Amazon was high. I thought $1,500 was too high. I cannot afford Amazon. There's no way that I'm buying it. Well, now, it hit 2,000, then it hit 2,500, then it hit 2,800, then it hit 3,000, and then it kept going. I'm like, well, darn, right? I wish I had gotten in at 15 when I thought it was really expensive. So it's all relative. But again, when do you buy? Number one, you can do DCA. You just buy all the time. Number two, you can try and draw yourself a trend line and kind of gauge when you want to jump in there. So those are two ways that you can decide that. I forgot what I was going to do on my phone. I think I was supposed to look up Bitcoin. I think that's what I was supposed to do. Right now it's at 40,678. So there it is, right? So we'll see. But that is going to be it for me. Sorry that I definitely lost my train of thought. I apologize for that. Let me know what you think in the comments. How do you buy? When do you buy? What are the things that you do in your practice, as they say in yoga? All right, that's it for me. Talk to you guys later.